Happy Friday, everybody. This is Elke here. I'm an author and the founder of K Writers, and I help writers write their books with easy to implement strategies. And today I'm excited to have Jennifer Merchant with us. So rather than me introduce her and tell her, try to explain everything that she does, I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about who she is and what she's going to share with you today. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. So my name is Jennifer Merchant. I am a mindset and habit coach. So basically, I help mostly women redesign their days where they can implement habits that support all areas of their life. So whether their business, their job, their family, their personal life, all areas, all goals, in a way that provides them with more time, energy, and freedom that they can use across their life. So that's what I do. And then I also work a lot with mindset because that's like step one of changing anything or implementing any habit. So really important. So I'm here today to share with you my simple 5-step process for implementing any new habit that you would like to implement. So I'm really excited to share it with you. And yeah, so we'll jump right in. I find that a lot of people don't really understand how habits work. They just like, as much as you say, oh, I have this habit. Like, if you think about brushing your teeth, that's a habit, right? But you weren't born with that habit. There's a process for creating a habit, and these steps all need to occur, which I will share with you. And it's really important to understand them because once you do that, it's so much simpler to actually create a new habit or break an old habit.
Absolutely.
So in order for any action to become a habit, you have to have 3 parts. There needs to be a cue, something that like triggers your brain to take the habit or take that action. There needs to be the action, and you need to receive some type of reward from that action. Any type of like reward or benefit. So, and then the next step is that your brain will start to crave that reward, and it will start to connect the reward to the cue, not the action. So that's the full process. So that, for example, if you have a habit of snacking, maybe 3 p.m. you go and reach for a cookie and you snack, and so the cue would be 3 p.m. and then your reward is that you satisfy your hunger, you get that sugar rush or something like that. Yeah. So at 3 p.m., your brain, before you even go get that cookie, is already craving the reward. It's connected to the cue, not the action. So this is really important to understand, because once you do, it makes implementing a new habit or changing an old one so much easier. So
absolutely, yeah.
So my 5 steps to like implementing any new habit is step 1, pick what you want to do, right? That's simple, probably. You can get to step 1. Step 2 is to commit to it. And this is where my mindset work comes in a lot, because you can say you want to start doing something, but why? Like, are you just doing it because you think you should do it? Are you going to receive some type of benefit? So some questions you could ask yourself are like, why do I want to do this? How is it going to benefit me to create this new habit? And maybe what might you need to give up? For example, when I wanted to redesign my morning routine, something I had to give up was sleeping in, which I really enjoyed. But like I wanted to.
I think we all do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something to think about too. Like, are you willing to give up the things you will need to give up in order to adopt this new habit?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that people realize or don't realize until they actually jump into it and just say, am I really willing to make that sacrifice and give that up? Absolutely. And you have to.
Exactly. And it's so important to do it before, because you can plan for that, right? But if you don't plan for it and then it comes up, then you're less likely to stick to implementing your new habit.
Yeah.
So that's step 2, to commit. Step 3 is to connect your habit or action that you want to start with a cue. And a cue can be anything from a time of day, a feeling, a person, a location. It can be anything that will trigger you to start something. So, for example, the cue that I talked about in my first example was the snacking. The cue is 3 p.m. So maybe you want to change that, or I really like talking about morning routines. So like your cue might be once your alarm goes off, you're going to grab your book and start reading. Or if you want to read in the morning, something that you can do is leave your book right out there, kind of like you hear people who want to start working out in the morning, they leave their workout clothes right on their bed. It's right there. It's in your face. So it's a cue. You don't have to think about it. It's already reminding you, this is time. It's time to do this habit.
Yeah, and I love that. I've never heard it put quite like that before, and I really like that idea, because for me it's all about, it has to be an alarm, and it has to do this, and it has to do that. And I've never heard it put quite like that before. I really like that.
Yeah, and it's already have an existing habit. Like, for example, something I already did in the morning when I wanted to start doing more things in my morning routine was shower, right? Like you get up and you shower. That's something I already did. So I attach my meditation to my shower and started that. So like as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm going to my living room and meditating. But it wasn't just like at some point I'm doing this. I'm doing it after my shower. So then I know. And like that helps you because it's connected to something.
No, I agree, because I think it's one of those things where, people sort of, I'm going to do this new routine, but I'll do it sometime during the day, and they don't realize that in order to create it as a habit, you have to do it consistently, and it has to be a method to it. And as you were saying, like a trigger or a cue. So that's perfect.
Exactly. So that is step 3. Step 4 is figuring out your reward or your benefit. Like, what are you going to get from this? Ideally, any new habit that you would want to create, you're going to get something from that. So, for example, if your habit is reading, your reward would be that you're learning or you're stimulating your brain. Like a reward for meditation would be that you feel relaxed. If you want to create a new habit of reading every morning, your reward would be that you feel accomplished before you basically even start your day. But sometimes in the beginning, you might want to add an additional reward in there just to create it more of a habit. So I've had clients before buy those like gold star stickers, and for every day in their planner that they do their new habit, they put a gold star on their planner. And that's not something you have to do in the long run, but in the beginning, it can be really helpful because it's like a little added, like, ooh, I'm going to reward myself. Like, I get a gold star. Like, it seems silly, but it really does give you that dopamine hit to start craving that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And, the more we reward ourselves, it's almost like it encourages us to keep going. So that's I love that idea, the 2 rewards. That's fantastic. I think I need to try that for myself. I love that.
Yeah. And then, like, for example, if you do it every day in a week, you can reward yourself to going out to a nice place to eat or something like that, like for bigger accomplishments. So that's really important. Sometimes we just think, oh, this is something I should do. I don't need to reward myself for like waking up early, but you do, and that's how you stimulate it to keep happening. So
it's human nature as well too. Yeah, because we want that instant gratification, and rewarding ourselves is a great way to get that and just keep us going. So absolutely. We're like little kids sometimes, aren't we? We need that reward.
Exactly. Just like even like dogs too. Like we reward them for everything and then they do it. And we like to think that we're not animals, right? We're humans, but we are animals in nature, and we do need to be rewarded just like any other like animal that you're trying to train. So
absolutely.
Remind to make it even easier for if you're having trouble implementing something that you want to put into your life.
Yeah, and especially when you're starting new habits, you want to make it as easy for yourself as possible, because that's when it sticks. Because if it's hard anyway, but if you can find a way to make it easier, that for me is what always makes a new habit easier for me.
Yeah, exactly, because you do feel a little bit of resistance. Like anytime you want to change anything, you're going to feel resistance, even if it's good for you. So it is important. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I forgot to mention, if you guys have any questions or anybody that's watching, if you have questions about anything that Jennifer or I say, please put them in the comments and we'll be happy to answer them for you during the live.
And even on the replay, we can come back and answer any questions as well. So, and anytime.
Absolutely.
All right. So, like I said, step 4 was the reward, and that brings us to our last step of implementing a new habit, which is step 5, which is tracking it. So, I find it super important to track anything that you're trying to do. It does 2 things. One, it keeps it in the forefront of your brain, right? It reminds you. You have to write down that night whether you did it or not, or like that day whether you were successful or not. So having to write it down, you don't want to disappoint yourself. Like you don't want to have to write, oh no, I didn't do this over and over and over. So you're more likely to actually do it, and it reminds you to do it. So that's one thing. And 2, it also it gives you something to look back on. So like if you're really struggling a few weeks down the line, down the road, like you're not really successfully doing your habit, you can look back like, have you been successful? If you haven't, maybe you could experiment a little bit more with your cue and your reward. Just like experiment, what else could you do to trigger your habit, that maybe leaving your book next to your couch isn't enough.
Right.
So you leave it like right next to your bed so you see it when you wake up. Something, this is just like a small example, but you can experiment to make it, like you said, easier on yourself so that you can hopefully be more successful.
No, absolutely. And I love that idea, because that's something that I didn't start doing until like this year, and I didn't realize how big an impact it actually makes, because you're seeing, it's twofold. You're seeing the progress that you're making, and it's encouraging, or you're identifying what's not working, and which can be a huge thing. I know some people find that discouraging. Oh, I didn't do it, but it can be a motivator and say, hey, you know, I didn't do it. What went wrong? You know, and how can I fix it and make it better and make it so that it does work? So there's a lot of benefits to tracking it. So that's fantastic that's, you know, number 5.
Yeah. One moment real quick.
Sure. And for those of you who know me, you know that I'm always talking about mindset and habits and how important they are, especially as a writer. You know, I think that is having a habit of writing is a fantastic way to, you know, really build good habits, you know, because to just write willy-nilly, I mean, that works, but if it's something that you really want to do as a profession, it has to be a habit. It has to be part of your routine. Even if you can't write every day, even if you have set times that you write, and you can't do that without having, you know, habits. And you know, what Jennifer was saying about mindsets. Oh my goodness. That I think is another thing this year that's really opened my eyes, because there's so many things that you don't realize that are hindering you from creating those habits. And a lot of times it's our mindset. So, you know, it's just so fantastic that, you know, you're talking about this, and why I wanted to have you on today.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good example, because I work with writers often too. And sometimes, you know, if you sit down and you're really having writer's block or something like that, you might walk away. And just creating an environment for yourself is really important. That would be part of the cue, right? So having your office where you only go there when you're going to write or something like that. And then you have a set time, like whether or not I have writer's block or not, I'm sitting here during this time. And probably something's going to come up for you, because you're training your brain to write during those circumstances.
Absolutely. And I like to call it, you're basically kicking your muse in the butt, so that you're showing that you're there and you're showing up. So she's going to have to show up, and not you waiting for her to show up. Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you one thing, Jennifer. What was your aha moment for you that made you realize that, you know, the way that you were doing things weren't good enough, and you had to have habits and routine? What was your aha moment?
So it's kind of a long story, but, you know, I did kind of what I was supposed to do. I went to school, and then I got my degree, and then I got a job after, and I ended up getting a job that was not paying me very much at all, over minimum wage, and I just thought, you know, I have to put in my dues, and had some toxic friends there, and I was just like, this is what it's supposed to be like. I have to do this in order to move forward. And situation came up where a job opened up that was perfect for and they gave it to someone else because he didn't go to school and didn't have the same opportunities that I did. Didn't make sense. So anyways, it just made me start thinking, like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I feel like I can't be somewhere else? And I started like looking into books. I started reading like my first book. One of the first books I read is the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, and it's a very intense book, very intense. But it made me start thinking like, okay, like I am responsible for what's going on in my life, and I need to start doing things. So I would just start like inputting, like listening to podcasts and reading all the books and like finding ideas to start doing things. And then I'd start trying them, and things that I liked, I would do it. Things I didn't like, I wouldn't, and just kind of experimenting where eventually I had this like brand new, I didn't change a lot. I changed small things throughout my day, and I did them every day. And within 6 months, completely like wasn't in that job anymore. Almost tripled my income. Got rid of all the toxic relationships that I had, strengthened everything. My entire mindset, like I was like struggling with like some negative emotions going on, and within 6 months it was almost all gone, just from like the simple things that aren't hard to do. I was just doing them every single day. I need to help other people do this because like it's just, you don't realize it until you do it.
That's true. And, I think the thing is with habits, too, people think that it has to be this huge, big change. And, oh, my gosh, how are they going to fit it into their already crazy life? And it really doesn't need to be that way. It can just be simple, small steps that can make such an impact if you do it consistently. And that's really what it boils down to. It doesn't have to be life-changing. It can just be small steps, but it can have such a huge impact. And that's what I love about it. And let me ask you, what steps did you take to make those changes so they became new habits?
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, I was kind of like, now I know a lot about work, so it's really easy. Then I didn't. So it was all experiments and trying new things. Like, for example, when I was doing my morning routine, I at one point tried working out in the morning, and I just found myself resisting it. So it just wasn't working for me. So I changed it. And now I have something that works for me. So it's a lot of trial and error at that time. But when I did that, I would literally put them in my something that I wanted to do. I wanted to read, I wanted to journal, and I wanted to meditate every morning. So I would, before I knew about talking and the benefits of talking, I literally wrote it down every single day in my planner. Read, meditate, journal, and I have to check it out whether I did it or not. And then eventually I didn't have to write it down because it was already done. So it's just like steps I kind of figured out along the way. And then, like I said, it was a lot of input, like getting a lot of information and learning as much as I could, and then kind of applying it and seeing what do I like, what makes me feel the best, and how can I like change it so that it's more personalized for myself.
And I love that you said that it's personalized for you, because I think too many times that we try to follow like some guru that they're doing, and if it worked for them, it can work for me, without, but it really boils down to a lot of, like you said, trial and error and trying different things to see what feels good for you. Because I'm with you, exercising in the morning doesn't work for me. I mean, I maybe can go for a walk around the block, but an actual exercise, for me, it's evening. I love to exercise in the evening. And, trying different things and finding what works, and then also just not giving up if it doesn't work. I mean, I think so many writers in my group are like, oh, well, I tried that and it didn't work for me, and I'm like, okay, well, what else did you try? Did you try something else? Or just because one way didn't work, that's no reason to give up. There's other ways that it can be done, and just not get discouraged if it didn't work one way. So I love that you said that. That's fantastic. Yeah,
and another thing to keep in mind is if you feel like something's not working, like how long have you actually been doing it? Because a lot of things that make the biggest impact are going to be small. They're not going to do anything for you. Well, they will, but not like in a big way until maybe 90 days down the road or something like that. So kind of like patience as well. Just like be consistent and keep doing it, and it will pay off. And if like a great example is read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It explains like all of this.
Oh, great book. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. Is there anything else that you wanted to share or let us know about? Maybe you could tell us where we can find more about you and what you've got to offer?
Yeah, so you can find me on my website. It's just jennifermerchant.com. And I do have a workbook that you can grab there to help you implement any new habit that you would like to implement. So it's called Goal Setting and Implementation Workbook. So you can write your specific goal down and then some habits to help you actually achieve it. So that's a great workbook. It's just jennifermerchant.com/workbook. And you can grab that. It's free. And I've gotten really good feedback off of it. So.
No, that's perfect. I'm going to be signing up myself because I keep seeing it there and I keep saying, "Oh, I'm gonna sign up for it," because I love goals and I love especially ones that are helping you to create. You can set those goals by creating new habits. I'm always looking for ways to how to improve that to better meet your goals. So I know I'm going to be signing up for that, and I'll make sure to put it in the comments, the link in the comments, so to make it easier for you guys who are listening to find it. So thank you so much, Jennifer. It's been so fantastic. I'm so glad that I was able to connect with you and to have you share this message for us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I've had a lot of fun.
All right, great. Bye. See you later. Take care. Bye, everybody. Happy Friday.
Yeah.